Okay, time to compute the actual chi-square test. You could do this next step a lot of different ways, but here's the way that I found is will keep you from getting confused. I'll come in here to the pivot table and highlight all of this information right here. The labels at the top of the columns, the labels in the rows over here, and what we call the marginals, the grand totals here of the columns and the rows. Highlight all of that. Right click, choose copy, come down right below it, right click and choose paste special and paste those values. Alright, so all I did was I just duplicated, hit escape here, duplicated down here the values in the table up here. And that'll keep me on track here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to compute expected values here and contrast those expected values with the observed values up here in the actual table. To do the expected values, I'm going to hollow this copy out. I'm just going to highlight the values here, click delete. Alright, and I'm going to just label this as well, expected, so I'll be able to keep this straight. Alright, so the expected value now for minorities with minority neighborhoods and cleared cases would be, I'm going to write a formula here, start with an equal sign. I need to take the total at the bottom of the column, the 15, and multiply it by the grand total in the row here, the same row is cleared, 17, and then divide by the grand total, the 30, just like that. So that's the pattern. This times this divided by this. Click enter. I'm going to do the same thing for this cell, equal. Again, the column total times the row total divided by the grand total. Alright. Same thing for here. This times this divided by this. And finally, this times this divided by this. Here we go. So there are our expected values. Now notice that because our two sample sizes were identical, 15 minority neighborhood burglaries and 15 white neighborhood burglaries, these values are the same as well. 8.5 here, 8.5 here, 6.5 here, 6.5 here. If your two group sizes are different, then obviously these values have a pretty good chance of being different as well, and that's perfectly okay. Alright, so the final step now is to use the chi-test in Microsoft Excel to contrast the observed values up here with the expected values down here. And it looks like this. I'm just going to give it a p-value, like that, or p to let myself know what this value means, and then type the formula, equal chi-test, C-H-I-T-E-S-T, and then a left parenthesis. And I need to start by highlighting the actual range, the range of observed values, and then a comma, and then the expected values, which I just computed, and then a right parenthesis and enter. And here I get a probability level. It is, as you can see, 0.0099067774. The thing to look for is this value less than 0.05? And this one is quite a bit less than 0.05. So what that means is that the differences that we see in clearance rates between minority neighborhoods and white neighborhoods is not just due to randomness, or not due to the fact that we're looking at 30 randomly sampled cases rather than all of the cases. It is in fact a real pattern in the population of all burglaries in minority and white neighborhoods. So that's how to figure a chi-square test in Microsoft Excel.